Hello, Abnormal Investigations. This is a members drop first for Patreon and YouTube members. So this is extra video you're going to receive before everybody else, before it's made public. A lot of you's been asking about Hunter. We're still fighting in court for Hunter. Things look good. I believe Hunter will be home soon. I believe it's not going to be long now. A lot of things, I believe, have been taken care of, and a lot of things are getting took care of right now. So I believe it's not going to be long. You're going to see him on our other channel. He's going to be so happy to see you guys and going live with you guys. Me and my brother Josh have a lot of adventures that we're ready and have got set up for him. Like I said, Josh is awesome. He's like my brother. We'll be taking Hunter out in a boat, getting him some gar, getting him some spoonbill, some huge catfish. Josh catches huge fish and bass and everything like that. So really looking forward to getting him back. You guys have been very supportive, and I'm very appreciative of that. Like I said, I got the best YouTube family out there. And let's get to your all's encounter. Oh, and by the way, the background that you're seeing today is sent in by Brooks, the moderator, and it is from where she lives up in New Mexico. It's a beautiful stream. So thank you, Brooks, for the background we'll be using today. I guess this all started when I was making myself some pasta. I live in a merry little house deep in the woods in Indiana. This makes me pretty isolated, which honestly isn't really a bad thing. I don't get a lot of people that come to the door, which I enjoy my seclusion. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's a peaceful little place. The nearest house or any sign of civilization really is several miles away. My house is near this little abandoned dirt road that goes into the city about 10 miles away, which is sort of a long way to go if you need help or anything. I love being surrounded by nature, just woods for miles and miles. Behind my house is a big field enclosed by a fence, which is where I keep my horse. She's a big, sturdy, old draft horse that isn't fazed by anything. Her name is, and I hope I get this right, Andromeda, and she is the calmest, bravest horse I've ever known. You could fire a cannon 5 feet away from her and she wouldn't even flinch. She is absolutely pitch black with tiny little white dots all over her back like the constellation, which gave her her name. I love to gallop horseback, and I like to ride bareback through the forest with her. We have encountered mountain lions, bobcats, and even a few black bears, and she hasn't even bolted once. Anyway, on to the story. It was in the middle of winter, and as any resident of Indiana can tell you, it snows a lot. Andromeda has a little barn on one side of the field, which is always open and filled with hay. It's been there for over 70 years. Half of it has already fallen down. It still has a roof, though, and that is where Andromeda was when this happened. I was in the kitchen making pasta for myself. I had the water on in the stove with the pasta sitting nearby. It was very late, around 9:30 at night. The water was close to boiling, so I was holding the pot by the handle and getting ready to add the spaghetti when something caught my eye. I have a big sliding glass door in my kitchen that leads outside to Andromeda's field, so that way I can check on her and see her. She was in her barn still, but she was neighing and shying away from something. In the 7 years I've had her, I've never seen her do that. Not even grizzlies scared her, but something was definitely off. She was rearing up on her hind legs, snorting and stamping at something. Then I saw it. There was a large shape in the snow, creeping toward her. Mind you, the snow was up to Andromeda's ankles, so this thing was sort of swimming in it, on top of it, the snow, toward her. She couldn't get out of the barn for fear of slipping. The shape resembled something like a very large but emaciated, malnutritioned wolf. But its movements were not that of a wolf. Its legs were far too long, and so was its snout, and there was something on its head that looked suspiciously like antlers. No, I must be imagining this. Wolves don't have antlers. The thing cleared the snow and was now under the roof of the barn. Andromeda was now in defense mode, rearing up in the snow on her sharp hooves. I realized how big this thing was. It must have been 8 feet long. A predator that big easily could take down a horse. The thought infuriated me. I was not going to let this thing kill Andromeda. She was my only champion out of the woods, and my best friend. Then I heard a high-pitched whinny from her. I looked again, and she was now limping as far away from this thing as she could. There was a gash across her back. It didn't look too serious, but it was now filled with the inexplicable rage. I grabbed my snowshoes and my antique Japanese katana, which is like a big samurai sword for those who don't know. I walked outside and immediately forgot how crunchy snow can be. This thing heard me and faced me. I froze. Then I remembered I could take down this starving wolf with a sword. That's when it stood up on its hind legs. This thing was very tall. It must have been at least 10 feet from the head, because it towered over me. This was not a wolf. It was a creature with horns? Well, its head was, anyway. Kind of like a deer's head, and I was not mistaken about the antlers. This thing either had antlers or horns, I'm not sure. But it was huge. It must have been a 16-pointer. But its face was wrong. It looked diseased, as though it had been dead for a while. In the forest floor, its eyes were horrifying. One was simply a mass of scarred black tissue. The other was sharp and smart. Its body was humanoid, but the legs bended like a deer's. Its arms were human-like, only they were extremely long and terribly thin, and the hands reached almost to the knees. Fingers tipped with razor-sharp claws. Some were bloody. It was covered in a thin layer of fur. I sensed intelligence in its strange animal, but it was no less terrified. It raised its head and let out a sound halfway between a scream and a growl. It chilled me to my very core. My knees wobbled, and I almost dropped the katana. And then it charged straight at me. Luckily the snow was deep. It wasn't very fast, but this didn't deter it. It pounced from 20 feet away. I dove to the side, and I dropped my sword into the snow. It turned, it looked at me, and it shrieked again. I threw my sword at it. There was no way I could kill it with my sword. I threw the sword, and luckily the sword hit it, and my sword did stick into its back. It screamed and shrieked, and it bounced away into the woods. I heard my sword hit a tree and fall to the ground. I got the horse, and I brought her to my yard, out of the fence, and I tied her at my kitchen window, and I called the vet, and yes, the game warden. When the game warden arrived, they blamed it on a mountain lion. I know what the F I seen was no damn mountain lion. I know what the F I seen, and I told him, but he wouldn't have it any other way. After the warden left, the vet looked at me and said, "This is not from a mountain lion. I must have seen 1,000 of those attacks, and I can tell you this is not from a mountain lion." And then he looked at me and he said, "I don't think you're crazy," which made me feel better. He told me I needed to put some lights up and some game cameras, and everything should be okay. I have done what he told me to do, Mike, and now everything is calm. She still will not go to that barn, and we plan on burning it soon. We're building her a very brand new barn. A very nice barn that will only be feet from my house. After all, she is my best friend, and she deserves to be safe. Thank you for reading my story. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it a lot. I saved it back for the members drop only. I try to get you all special content. You're going to have a lot more special content coming up. I'm going to go look at some places to investigate. I will be filming that and dropping it in the subscriber videos first, so y'all will get first look at it. Again, guys, thank you for everything, and I really mean that. Just you guys watching these videos, seeing your comments, y'all talking to me, hitting the like button, it keeps me encouraged and keeps me going also. So it helps me, Hunter, and my family. So thank you all so very much. And until next time, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And we'll see you on the next one.